Hello everybody, I am not dead yet, and today I am talking about the whole feud between Remington James and Greg Doucette. For those of you not in the know, Remington James recently released a new product known as Anabutter, and Greg Doucette released a video response to the Anabutter's release, where he essentially says that Remington James is deceiving his audience with deceptive marketing by saying things like the Anabutter has less calories and more protein, when in reality it only has 10 to 5 fewer calories depending on the flavor you pick and 1 more gram of protein. Ooh, big deal there, right? And so there's a lot of people that I've seen that give their takes on it. Ryan Ankrom gave his take on it, and a few other people in the comments are kind of going back and forth whether or not Greg's overreacting or whether or not Rem actually is deceiving his audience or not, and I am here to give my opinion on the whole thing, because Remington James recently released 2 response videos. In one, he actually calls Greg a liar and a fraud, essentially saying that he only put out those videos in order to slander Remington James's name and promote his own bars. So let's start with that take. Do I think that's what happened? Do I think that Greg is intentionally putting down other people in order to promote his own stuff? And do I, or alternatively, which is another theory I've seen around, do I think that Remington James and Greg are in cahoots to stir up drama in order to promote both their bars? No. I 100% know for a fact that is not the case. Why do I know that? Because Greg actually sent me voice memos when he was originally recording that video. I remember he sent me this voice memo talking about how he was trying to record it, but he was just so mad and he was getting so infuriated that he needed to go take a break, which this is something he actually says in the video. I'm not going to play the messages for you, obviously for the sake of privacy, but if you trust me, then you can take my word for the fact that he actually talked to me about how angry he was about how Remington James presented the Anabar. So yes, Greg Doucette's anger and him being upset at Remington is 100% genuine. 2, let's talk about Greg's reaction, because a lot of people are saying Greg overreacted. Oh, that's just the marketing business. Oh, and who is Greg to talk, because look at how he markets his own products. Let's start with Greg. Is Greg overreacting? Do I think Greg's overreacting? Yes and no. What do I mean by that? Greg is obviously more passionate about this stuff than I do, and honestly, from the sounds of things and from our conversations back and forth, he truly believed better in Rem. He truly believed that Rem was a better person than he actually turned out to be. One, I'm not super passionate about these fitness crazes and fitness products, really. I don't even eat protein bars at all. I might buy one if I'm going on a trip to for a fight or something and I want a snack before the fight that doesn't, you know, make me feel super full but still gives me energy. But by and large, I do not eat protein bars on the regular. I do not consume a ton of fitness-esque products on the regular. So I am not very passionate about these projects, and for the most part, I see a lot of these sort of fitness marketed stuff as a massive scam. I've seen other Anabutter-esque spreads and stuff that claim to be healthier when in reality they're full of sugar and garbage products. So for the most part, especially when it comes to Remington James, when he releases a product like that, I fully expect it to be a shit product. I fully expect it to be like, okay, well, it's another... He took Anabars and liquefied them, essentially, and that's exactly what I expected. That's exactly what we got. So, but it also comes down to what you expected from Remington. Because it seems like Greg truly believed that Rem could be better, whereas I simply put did not. Ever since I first discovered Rem about a year ago, I always saw through him. Rem is extremely fake, and his personality, his persona on YouTube is one of the most manufactured I have ever seen, and that is really, really saying something. His personality to me has always been fake, but that didn't really matter to me. Because he was entertaining. So I said, okay, well, whatever, I'll watch his content. But obviously with the whole recipe stealing debacle of last year, it really put into light just how shitty his true character actually was. And at the end of the day, his reputation to me never really recovered. Because he kind of showed he didn't care. In his first response to Greg, he literally says he doesn't care and people will forget, and that is what he took from the previous drama, and I'll play the clip right now.
This time, though, I've learned a lot of lessons from last time. First and foremost, that when this stuff happens, it only lasts for about a week, and then everybody forgets and everything goes on.
And he's really banking on that, oh, everyone will forget about it in 2 weeks thing, too, because again, everybody did the first time. When Rem actually went back and deleted all of his previous apology videos for the recipe stealing drama thing. And when that happened, I was the only person to call it out publicly, and when I did, it didn't get traction. Nobody cared. All the YouTubers that previously had made videos calling out Rem, nobody made a video on it. It never ran with it. The story never really picked up any traction. And to be fair to those YouTubers, they were saying like, okay, well, maybe he wants to kind of just move forward, but I still believe that deleting your apology video is pretty indicative that you're not actually sorry. You're not willing to really learn, because you're not willing to show your progression and how you've actually grown. You just want people to forget so you can continue to do it again, and lo and behold, look, I was right. Woohoo. A big surprise there. But yeah, like nobody did it. Everybody just let Rem sweep it all under the rug, and that was that. So of course, my view on his character is going down. There's other things that I'll give you a bit of a peek behind the curtain here. Remember that podcast that the IronMusket did with Remington after that whole drama was done? I wasn't there, and a lot of people in some instances, for various things, accused me of being jealous and butthurt and angry about the fact that I wasn't invited on the podcast. Do you want to know why I wasn't invited on that podcast? Do you want to know why I wasn't there? Because Rem specifically said that he wouldn't be on the podcast if I was there. Josh actually did bring it up, and again, I'm not going to show the screenshots for the sake of privacy, but I've been friends with Josh for long enough that stuff reaches my ears. He specifically asked Josh not to put me on the podcast, and I believe he did that because somebody needed to get thrown under the bus there, and it just so happened to be me. Why? Because I was the smallest creator and no one would stand up for me, and it's clear that nobody did. No one cares. I was too small a creator, and to a certain extent I still am too small of a creator. But even beyond that, he's still stealing recipes, or at the very least, if the people that come to me in the DMs on Instagram are to be believed, he's still stealing recipes. I still get DMs with people coming to me saying, hey, Rem's still doing it, Rem's still stealing recipes, or hey, I think Rem stole my recipes. And I've had to tell like 3 or 4 people, be like, listen, I'm sorry, I don't care, there's nothing I can do. All I've done is unsubscribe from Rem, I've stopped following, I've stopped looking at him, and I encourage you to do the same. If you really want to hurt him, just ignore him. And I've had to say that to a couple of people now that have come to me saying, hey, Rem is still stealing recipes. So So my view on Remington James was not very high, all that to say, so it doesn't really surprise me. However, I can understand from Greg's perspective, who is very passionate about fitness and all these different products, as well as someone who believed in Rem a whole lot more than I did, why he would be so upset and disappointed by this. It's the same reason why I make a video talking about like Jake Paul and why I absolutely hate what he's doing, and people go, wow, you're really overreacting about this, who cares? And it's like, I care because this is my life, and to a certain extent, weight loss, health, fitness are Greg's life. So that's what I think about his reaction to the whole thing. Let's talk about Remington James's 2 videos now, because I do have some issues with them. My first issue with Remington James's 2 response videos are the fact that he paints himself out to be the victim in the recipe stealing debacle, and he uses that to kind of paint Greg as evil in this scenario, retroactively rewriting history, like I said in that video that I linked earlier on in this one. Because he talks about how, like, oh, the first time Greg I dropped his video, I was disappointed and let down, and I couldn't believe it. I
don't even know what to think or say. The last time it happened, I was really let down, really bummed, because Greg was like a hero to me, and I felt like, I don't know, I was betrayed. It didn't feel good.
Let's make one thing fucking clear. You were not the victim in that situation a year ago. You stole other people's work and sold it as your own, and you got called out on it. You suffered the consequences of your own actions. And not only did you refuse to accept responsibility for it, but you pretty much stood there, gave everyone the middle finger, said, screw you, I'm the best, and you only apologized when everyone turned against you. When everyone called you out on your bullshit. So let's not sit here and pretend like you got bullied and dogpiled for no reason a year ago. You were stealing from people. A ton of people. And using it to line your own pockets. That does not make you a victim when you get called out. That means that you are suffering the consequences of your actions. Because at one point in one of the videos, I can't remember which one because I watched them back to back, I'll even play the clip, but he talks about how Greg, I'm pretty sure it's the second one, needs to push people down in order to elevate his own products, right? And how he believes that a rising tide brings up all ships?
You know, the last time that this happened, he made a video about me. I basically tucked my tail between my legs and surrendered because I didn't want any more issues. But this time around, I refuse to be bullied. I refuse to be made to look like someone I'm not. And I refuse to let you sell your products off of mine. Greg, there's an easy world where we all win. You ever heard the expression, a rising tide lifts all ships? Well, that's the way I run my life.
Right, right? You believe that, right? Why don't we go back to the most disliked episode of the Mogcast ever put out? Where you talk about how you're a loner, you don't do community. Everybody tries to kind of stick together in a circle jerk, which is something I said first, by the way. But in a circle jerk, and you're a part of that, you're a lone wolf, and you don't do community. Why don't we go back to that, Remington James?
I refused to watch. And I think that's one of the reasons all these guys have a problem with me, because they're all like in this, I'm going to call it a circle jerk, where they all are just like reposting each other and tagging and supporting and commenting and replying and like collaborating. They're all doing that. Like, I do not do that. I'm just doing my own thing.
Right.
Like, I really, up until all this happened, I wasn't even reading really my YouTube comments. I was just kind of like, the only, matter of fact, some of the only YouTube comments I read were the ones on the Mogcast we did.
You don't believe in any of the shit that you said about bringing people up and supporting other people and not pushing people down to elevate yourself, because you were walking on literally probably hundreds of creators in order to achieve whatever you wanted, whether it was YouTube success, monetary success, by stealing other people's recipes and putting them forward as your own. So you present these technicalities of being like, hey, I was just stating facts. They are technically less calories, which is true. They are less calories if we are to believe your label, because we all know that labels lie. They can lie. I think it's like up to 10% they can lie. So they could have been literally more calories, and you could have just pulled it back and said, oh, 10 calories less. And it's like, well, I'm Remington James. Do you believe my integrity? Do you think I would do something like that? Yes. Yes, I think you are the exact type of scumbag to do that. But even if you didn't, even if it is just the pure deceptive marketing, which some people say, hey, that's marketing, that's just how it is. Okay, so I'll give you that. You still cannot, you're still deceiving your audience with how you're presenting the situation that happened a year ago, and you deceived your audience for literally over a year until you were called out by Nick. So congratulations, Remington James. If we give you the most benefit of the doubt possible, you are not as much of a lying, manipulating scumbag in this particular situation. But if we look back on what you're and on all the things you've done and the things you are currently saying, you are still a massive lying, manipulating scumbag who is lying to your audience in order to make yourself appear way more virtuous, way more, a man that has way more integrity and way better than you actually are in reality. You are still lying to people. So your argument still completely falls to shit. Like, and that's what frustrates me. Because you talk about how Greg is this bully, and how he's trying to push people down, when all he did was call out your lies and deceptive marketing.
I mean, what kind of person throws their friend under the bus just to make a few extra dollars?
If you know me by now, if you've been around my channel for a while, you know I hold issue with people who rely heavily on technicalities to make themselves right. There's a difference between being technically right and doing the right thing. And whether or not you want to argue back and forth about whether or not you are technically right, I don't think anyone will argue that what you're doing is morally virtuous. And if you don't care about moral virtue, that's fine. But again, you're not a saint. And to paint yourself out to be one, even if you didn't mislead your audience with the Anabutter, is blatantly misleading your audience there. And it's pretty easy to mislead your audience when you actively delete the evidence of your wrongdoings on your channel. You're a scumbag, and we all know that at this point. At least I hope We know that at this point. I'm going to address Ryan Ankrom next because he's been kind of commenting around. He made a video where he's like, Greg, I don't know why you're so obsessed with my company. He tries to humble brag that our stuff is sold out and Greg's stuff hasn't. Congratulations. You don't know how to order stock properly, and you don't know how many people plan to buy your product. Hell, maybe you don't even have confidence that you were going to sell out, so you bought a sample size and people ended up buying more than you expected. Congratulations. It's not a brag. It shows that you don't know how to manage your resources properly as somebody who's worked in a superstore before and knows a little bit about managing stock. But also beyond that, he really seems to like to talk to people in the comments and kind of go after Greg. I'll throw up a story Greg posted where he's putting out bullshit about Greg's company, but also even just something as simple as the second video commenting how Greg is such a stereotype narcissist or something like that. Ankrum, about a year ago, I had to comment using my alt account because I'm currently blocked on, I'm still blocked on Instagram and I'm muted from Rem's channel. I cannot comment on Rem's channel as not dead yet. So I used my alt. Ankrum, you fucking made fun of my alt account for having 4 subscribers when I didn't post a single fucking video. Like, you think somebody who is not narcissistic would be like, I have a ton more subscribers than you, person who has never tried to gain subscribers? Because he didn't know it was me. Like, shut the fuck up, Ankrum. You're a bitch, and you're an insecure, whiny little asshole. You annoy me. And like, here's a little tip for people, because I can't stand Ankrum, and apparently Ankrum hates my fucking guts, which, whatever. But here's a little tip for any of you. Anybody who tries to act tough, swing their dick, and act like they're big and powerful, tough guy, are usually pretty insecure with themselves. They're not really all that tough. The real tough guys, the real, you know, confident guys don't go around trying to prove it because they know they have nothing to prove. So, Ankrum, shut the fuck up. You're not tough. You're not cool. And you've added absolutely nothing of value to this conversation. Finally, speaking of adding value to the conversation, I'm going to address Jonni Shreve's video that he made, because he talks about how drama is a bad thing for the YouTube community and how he's kind of sick and tired of stuff devolving into drama and having to put people down in order to elevate other people, or we should be focused more on helping others. And while I understand the sentiment, I don't actually think drama is all that bad, especially shit like this. To be entirely honest, especially as someone who has no horse in this race, who does not care at all, and has literally nothing to lose, this shit is fun. I mean, we want to talk about peeking behind the curtain. Let me talk to you about let me give you a little bit more of a peek behind the curtain of the whole YouTube sphere. And one thing that I've learned being on YouTube for so long, it's the fact that YouTube is high school. Remember what high school is like? That is YouTube. But to me, I enjoy it because I have no real personal stakes. So as long as you're not trying to completely ruin people's lives here, and let's be real, the Remington James isn't getting his life ruined by Greg Doucette making his video. If anything, people are going to be like, oh, that's an alternative to peanut butter? Let's buy it, and it's going to increase his sales. All publicity is good publicity, sadly. So, no one's lives are on the line here. No one's, you know, going to ruin anybody here. And again, it's an honest review. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, well, look at the comparison that Greg did between the Seco bar and the Anabutter. That is competition, trying to squash competition. Not really. Did you watch the video? Oh, well, he put it out before or immediately after calling out Rem, yeah, to capitalize on the fact that people are going to be searching for Remington James. Sure, you call that shady business dealings or deceptive marketing too, maybe if you want to, but I don't think that's really that bad a thing, especially if you watch the video. First of all, it's an old video. You can tell by the fact that Greg still has long hair. Greg has shaved his head right now, so he's got longer hair in that video, meaning he filmed it way in advance. And second of all, if you actually watch the video, the main point of that video is that there is room for both the Seco bar if you're looking to lose weight a little bit more and struggle with over-consuming things that taste amazing. And there's room for the Anabutter, which is a little bit better for bulking, and if you're struggling on calories, getting the calories in, or you just want a bar that tastes incredible, there you go. Anabutter. So he really didn't put down the Anabar at all in that video. Oh, and a lot of people have accused Greg of doing the same thing, being like, oh, well, who are you to criticize Rem for his marketing when look at how you've marketed your products? More specifically, I'm assuming at least Turkesterone, because Greg's been one of the people more driving home the sort of how great Turkesterone is. And I'm not really going to delve too deep into it here. I've already made a video talking about my thoughts on Turkesterone as a product and even how Greg and other people have marketed the product. If you want to watch it, I'll leave the video up here, but yeah, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's really all that comparable. Because with Rem saying that it's lower calorie, higher protein, while technically true, it's 5 or 10 less calories with 1 more gram of protein, and as well as his reputation of being known as a weight loss / healthier version YouTube channel, it's going to lead his audience to believe that this is going to be a healthier / weight loss option. Now, he counters this by saying, I never mentioned it that it was going to be for weight loss. In fact, I mentioned that it was going to be for bulking.
If you're trying to bulk up and put on size, using something like Anabutter, which is a peanut butter alternative, a few less calories, way more flavor, way better. Toss that on some rice cakes, easy way to crank those calories up. So if we take a look at this pitch in the video I made where I did 5 easy meals, I used Anabutter, spread it on a rice cake, ate it, gave you the macros, and then told you Anabutter was a good way to add calories to your diet. Could be a great bulking food. And I also mentioned it had a few less calories than regular peanut butter. Seems, I don't know, transparent to me.
But if it was a bulking product made specifically for bulking, why would you mention that it is lower calorie? Because, like, I'm not looking for the lowest or lower calorie options if I'm trying to bulk. Wouldn't peanut butter be better? Well, no, it's better because it tastes better and you can eat more of it. That's why Anabutter is better. Well, if that's the case, it's 10 or 5 extra calories. What is that? Like an 1/8 of a teaspoon? Not even? Are we really like... So, no, it's pure deception at its finest. No matter what way you try to spin it, that argument just falls apart. But ultimately, to bring it back to Jonni Shreve's point, I don't like it when people turn their nose up on the drama. And sure, some drama can be stupid, but for the most part, I see it as dumb fun. Because at the end of the day, not every... And I know Jonni Shreve focuses really hard on, you know, self-improvement and everything. His motto lately has been, save your life or change your life. Which is fine. And I think a lot of some of the stuff I've put out can help save or change a life, at least if you allow me, humor me for that. But at the end of the day, I also realize, to me personally, this is my opinion, not everything I'm going to put out is going to be save your life, change your life. And now not everything I'm put out is even going to be positive. One of these days, I plan to put out a video where I simply just make fun of fat acceptance people. It's not going to have any grand message. It's going to be, look at these fucking idiots promoting a stupid ideology. Because at the end of the day, sometimes it's fun to just take a step back and laugh at the absurdity of the world that we live in. And so to each their own, because sure, there are some types of content that I consider like, why the hell would anybody watch this? If that drama's not your thing, that's not your thing. But ultimately, I believe that I think the 10-cent story summarized it best. It's all like WWE. It's a big spectacle, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's fake or scripted, but it's more just a big spectacle for everybody to enjoy. And I really don't think there's any real problem with people calling other people out, even if they do own a supplement company, right? Ultimately, it's down to the consumer to think for themselves, which is something that I've said from the very beginning. But that's kind of my thoughts on everything that was mentioned. I do want to kind of point out the fact that, hey, you know, even if you do believe that Rem was just marketing in this situation, he's no saint. And I want to bring that to the forefront and remind people that, like, he stole from a ton of people and he actively tried to cover it up. So don't let him use the don't push people down, because he walked on a ton of people until he was called out. So anyway, that's all I have to say for this situation. If you want to support me, because we're talking about, you know, supporting creators, you can find my Patreon, PayPal, and affiliate links in my description. But in mentioning that, I would like to thank everybody who supports me on Patreon. It is because of you guys that allows me to continue to do this and encourages me to continue to do this, so thank you very much for that. But until the next video, I am not dead yet. Remember, only the strong subscribe, and if you aren't either, there is always a tomorrow waiting for you.